I appreciate
All right,
I appreciate
everyone. We're about to start a Savannah chat here. We have a chain chat being hosted by Charles Schultz. Charles, if you go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate everyone jumping on this call today. Hopefully, it turns out to be useful, and just really want to open myself to everyone, and honestly, just answer any questions you might have, off the whim, or something that's been an issue for a while, or just address anything chain related. I'm happy to assist in any way. If I can't answer it immediately, I'll make sure to take note and get a email response back to you personally. But feel pretty confident that any question you throw my way, I'll be able to answer it right here.
Cool. I'll go first. Any brands you see in the last that we've picked up in the last year or so that have really started to pick up and look like they might be the next big thing in our portfolio?
Well, a couple things. One's not really taken off, but we're getting a lot of demand. But I'll start with the bigger, and that's bucked up, you guys. I mean, this thing has really taken steam across the board, from probably 40 cases a week to I think we're pushing a little over 4 or 5 thousand cases now, to where we're buying a full trailer pretty much on a weekly basis of each SKU. And I definitely see this getting larger as these programs are coming up in QT, and other chains that you're probably going to see a BOGO come along. So just keep your eyes on that, especially inventory levels at store level. The rate of sales there, based off just out of stock notifications from chains. So I think that's probably one of the bigger surprising brands we have right now. And then pretty much anything that has lion's mane in it, the mushroom mix, this seems to be the hottest item requested to talk about with chains. So not that it's out there yet, but I definitely can see that being one of the bigger items going out to a bunch of chains, probably later this year or next planning period.
I know Breeze Flow has lion's mane in it, and is that's a pure NA. Are there any other items in our portfolio that have lion's mane?
Yeah, EUB. It's a new item on the non-alc side. It's being if y'all are familiar with Zen Water, the same guys that was running that brand is running EUB. Great group of people, and it's got a strong following already, and they've got the money to back it up. So programming will be easily done with that brand, and I'm pretty sure I've got QT and Kroger already wrapped up to load in with that brand. So that will come in the future, rather sooner than later.
Cool. Who else has got something for Charles? Anybody else ready with a question? Chain operations, independent C stores. You have questions about that? I'm sure Charles can handle those. All right. Drew has a good question. Could you chat about how you'd like us to handle Publix check-ins? Give us the rundown. I don't have a
Okay.
Publix, so act like it's we're starting from square one on that.
So it's real simple. Well, I know it's simple to say it, and it might be different at store level, but so as you guys know, we have different vendor numbers. Um, we have a non-alc and we have an alcohol one, and then Savannah also has their separate two of the same. So for you folks in Atlanta, it would be our 401 ending the last three digits and 403. That the 403 is your non-alc vendor number for Publix. 401 is your alcohol vendor number in Publix. And they both start with 663. I think it's 663 401, 663 403. So first off, understand those. And the way you want to check in is you want to check in by selecting both vendor numbers at the check-in process. So if you check in under our out vendor number and then you go back out and check in under our non-out vendor number, you are actually checking out of our out vendor number and checking in to our non-out. So the screen, when you're looking at it, you'll see a little box and say, would you like to add another vendor? I believe that's what it says. It's something to that nature. Just check it, and then you'll be able to add that second vendor number. And then once you're to that, it'll ask you what you are doing, since you guys are on the sales side of things. Everyone should be selecting sales, visit, and merchandising. And then once you hit submit, you're good to go. Go do your business in the store. And then once you're finished, all you do is go back and check out. And you've actually, that is 100% completed process there. The problem that you may have, some of you may leave and not check out. You're still credited for checking in. But the problem is, let's say you spent 45 minutes there, but you failed to check out. Publix is automatically going to reduce that to 15 minutes, which at the same time jeopardize our percentage of time spent in all locations. So keep that in mind. It's not really a ding, but it cuts down on the visitation time, and overall affects our score.
Could you go into what a Publix score or a Kroger score or anything like that is?
Sure. So public score, Kroger is not really participating in that on a DSD level. They are doing that with some of the higher distributors like, bread and Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So we're not really being graded on Kroger. But Publix, now this is where the score actually matters the most, because the score first dictates what my level of authorization is in the Publix portal. And this is what allows us to turn on products, authorize them, activate them. And just so you guys understand what authorization and activation means in Publix world, authorization is a sell-in at store level. Activation is a planogrammed item. So without our score meeting a certain threshold, I have limited access, and I have also limited access to requesting meetings for new items, new products to be put into Publix. So in a nutshell, our score is really important, and that's what grades us as a distributor, as far as how we're executing, what we're doing there, how many delivers we're making, how much time we're spending in the stores. So imagine, 30 of you guys missing a Publix check-in over a week time. I mean, we're talking, potentially 20 hours or more potentially, that we could have achieved in getting our score up, and at the same time dropping our score, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me. Is Target operate the same way in the checkout system?
No. So Target would be different. We're not graded on whether or not or how much time, or dictates what we're going to get into Target. It's more of a less a third party app that lets them know who's servicing their stores. It's not ever sent to us. We have no idea. We don't ever see that report. So as far as Target goes, it's not affecting us the same way as Publix.
All right. One more Publix question in regards to checkouts, then we'll address some Walmart questions. How long on average should we be in our Publix stores per check-in? Some of my stores are very small. It's mostly truck to shelves. There isn't much back stock. What should we be averaging?
Good question, Cameron. Again, I mean, just like Cameron said, it's based on your store. I mean, how many products you have in there, how many, cases are you bringing in? I mean, I'm not asking if it only takes you 15 minutes to get everything done in that location and move on. I'd rather you do that, honestly, because you're just going to hit more locations. It's the biggest point of the check-in is letting them know we're there. The time is one thing. Yes, what I love for you to be in a Publix an hour long and make everything perfect. That's not realistic, and we all know that, and Publix knows that. So I mean, you use your best opinion on how long you think that takes. Again, if it takes you 10 minutes and you've properly done everything as far as stock it, face it, make sure your back stock's put up nicely, and you can do all that with checking in and checking out in 15 minutes, good for you. I mean, I'm all for it. Move on to the next thing you got to do.
All right, good stuff. Are we working on getting more products in Walmart?
Yeah, we actually had a pretty astonishing year with Walmart. Believe it or not, you guys, there's just some locations now. If you're in central Atlanta, I guess within the corridor, you're probably seeing a lot better than the outer skirts. But we increased our placements almost 60% this year with Walmart. Um, with that said, I mean, we kind of went over around 9,000. I want to say it was 9,120. I could be off a couple. Yes, I do know these numbers by heart because I have to give them to Henry and Cole. So don't tease me on that. But yeah, some people get to see it more than other because the way they write their sets, they draft it store by store. Unlike, let's say, Quick Trip, where they're all uniform planograms. So Walmart's a little different. If you're in Macon, you're probably not going to have the 75 different SKUs we have in Fulton County's Walmart, if that makes sense.
Are drivers merchandising Walmart in Northeast Georgia, specifically for David Plosky or Eric Vonyer?
They should be. And if you're not getting that merchandising support from them when they make that delivery, please send me the locations and we'll get that handled ASAP.
Perfect segue. John Floody asked me to introduce a new feature that we've installed into Encompass. It is called the Delivery Feedback Survey. Let me pull it up so I can tell you exactly where it is. It is called, it should already be in your handheld, Delivery Issue Survey. All right, you can pull this up now. It's already in your system. So if you're David Plosky and your Walmart is complaining to you that the drivers aren't stocking your shelves, you're going to want to go into that account. You're going to want to take a new survey, which is just the surveys button. And then there is the delivery issue survey that you can run. Describe the delivery issue. All right, everybody should be pulling this up in their handheld right now if you're not streaming off of your phone. Very simple. What's the issue? Take a picture if necessary. Give us the invoice. That'll go to Floody. That'll go to all the relevant warehouse managers, and they can go ahead and say, hey, what's going on here, and address it. So that delivery survey should be a little bit easier than telling your DM and playing the telephone game and making sure the stuff gets handled. It's going to go right to the right people immediately so we can address it. So if that feature is live, Floody should send out an email. But you guys look into that. Tell me what you think of it. Tell Floody what you think of it, and we'll go wide with that. Salesforce wide. So if you are having delivery issues or something to the effect of your drivers aren't merchandising your WalMarts now in Northeast Georgia, delivery survey. Great idea, great feature. Thank you, Owen. I didn't design it, but I'm glad that you enjoy it. Can we make sure Trop is in all Walmarts? It did not make the set for 2773 from Dan Allison, LaGrange.
Again, it kind of goes back to it's a store by store basis. It is rather odd for it not to be placed in at least have it would be very few that don't have Tropicalia. And Dan, you probably can tell me the best in that location. I'm looking at that number now, and it is odd to have Classic City and not have Tropicalia. So I will definitely address that and make note to notify Walmart because this looks like it's more of a mistake on their end drafting the planogram than it is anything else. So good one, Dan. I will make sure to get back with you and see what we can do to get that accomplished.
Going back to check-in stations, Stephen Howard says Kroger now has them. Are we working on creating the system to check in there?
I hope not. But there's been talks, and if it works well with Coke and Pepsi and some of the other larger ones that are in their store 7 days a week, then I'm all for it. But at this point in time, I don't see any foreseeable future of us having to check in and check out at Kroger. The demand's just not the same as what they're trying to utilize that program for.
All right, good stuff. Arthur Humphreys, same thing with you. We've got that delivery survey. If your Ingles are not getting stocked by drivers and they're supposed to be, just go ahead and write that survey. We can get that addressed. I know a couple of you guys, David, Arthur, Eric, are covering a lot of miles and just don't have the time or bandwidth to turn around and go back to that Ingles for a second time that same week. We get that. So please make sure you fill out that survey so we are instructing those drivers to fix those problems for you. All right, let's see. Brandon says make sure you put the invoice for the delivery issue survey. That way it will connect to the driver's manager. Very good. All right. Cameron says, is there anything we can do for holiday cutoffs in Publix? Are they able to finalize early so the orders can make the truck? As a bit more of a John Floody question. Um, the answer to that is to communicate probably 2 weeks before the delivery schedule goes out. So, all right, we've got 4th of July coming up in about a month, not about a month, in almost exactly a month, which means the kind of the 4th of July delivery schedule will turn on about 2 weeks out. So you should be using the chance for 2 weeks out to say, hey, get me your Publix order early on 4th of July week. That cutoff's going to be early. Get it to me Sunday or Monday as soon as you can. Um, and that way, you're ahead of it and they're ahead of it because, once
Well,
we go ahead, Charles.
if, I'm sorry, Patrick. I didn't just before you go deep on that. With that auto replenish related orders, where it kind of takes that out of their control, but it is going to be a learning curve, you guys. I get it. Some of these cutoffs on holidays, just so you guys understand the AR feature on Publix, we have to file a delivery schedule with Publix on what times we want that order to come in and what time we want to make that order delivered. Unfortunately, with the time frame, it takes exactly 7 days for any changes to go into effect. So, kind of going back to what Patrick said, if we know the holidays coming up, instead of changing all these schedules in public systems, which really could cause a lot of issues, trust me on this one, it would be probably advisable to say, look, my cutoff is maybe we should go ahead and make an order prior to this. I know AR is going to generate an order, but they have the capability of canceling that order out in the system. And or you guys, if you're having that same issue, you can notify myself to make sure that order is turned off if you've already inputted your own invoice, with the store, manager or receiver's permission. Would be one way to fix it the fastest too.
All right. Let's see. There was another question that I think I went by. Should drivers be pulling up when they make deliveries, all store in all areas? That definitely varies. Some chain. Charles, go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah, that varies. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, again, it goes back to, if it's a chain and they're in that store and they're checking in, they should, they should go through every process. Let's be, you know, let's be sensitive on the fact that, these guys are doing the same thing you're doing. They're going to go hit, another 50 accounts and they're under time restraints. If we can help, let's help. Let's be teams. But again, going back to the nice handy reporting tool that John's created for us to report this stuff. If you don't report it, we won't know. And if you have trouble with that report, you can send it to me and John or whoever, to get that attention for whatever you all need us to address. We'll be happy to. And if I can go back real quick to Cameron
Sure.
Welch's question about the cutoffs in Publix, did that answer your question, Cameron? If you want to just send a note, if not, we can dive into it deeper. Sorry,
Well,
Patrick. We can move
no, that's
on.
okay. While he's responding, we'll go to one more. Drew's great question. Are we getting dinged for not checking in at Publixes that are every other week visits?
Um, no, I mean, so Drew, if you're checking in on the day, like let's just say you're going there to check in or to see if you need anything, you may not. But auto replenish is going to automatically build an order when they need an order. So I would be surprised if they're probably skipping a week. There might be some accounts that are, but if you're walking into that account and you're checking in and you go out and check out everything and everything looks good, you don't need to do anything, but you spent, let's just say 10 minutes there and you go back and check out, that's all positive for us because again, the whole process for the check-in is to say Savannah distribution was there and we visited your store and you're good to go. It's literally the only point.
Great feedback. These are some good questions, guys. You're giving Charles good stuff to talk about. Let's keep him coming for a few more minutes. All right. Cameron says, I had two stores not make cut for Memorial Day. I was coming back from leave, so they had the product for the week.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's rough doing when you're doing when you're traveling over a holiday week, that does make things tricky. The best example there is to just talk to your buyers and work ahead as much as you can. With a system like Publix, they can get their orders early because the replenishment system, they're actually sending us orders. With others, you'd want to make sure your DM or whoever covers you while you're going goes to those stores early. The trick is you really just can't be too on top of it. Who
Exactly.
who else has good questions? You guys are asking very good questions. I'm happy with them. Charles, you happy with the questions so far?
I am. Yeah, these are all great. I appreciate it, you guys. And feel free to ask anything. There's no wrong question. I mean, chain business is tough. It sucks. It's hard. C stores are mean. I get it, you guys. So, I mean, whatever I can do to help, I want to help. So, you know, whether you put a question on this chat or not, you feel free to always reach out to me for anything.
All
So
right. Let's let's go with KJ first. Any information on why AR is ordering products that are not in their sets? Who is AR? You may know, I don't know.
that's auto replenish for Publix.
Got it. Okay, so
Um,
it's yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So the great thing about AR is, yeah, they do things faster now, and we get products input faster. If AR is ordering it, it's because it's when active, KJ, and I know for a fact on those items you just listed. So what happens is there was probably changes at store level prior to AR, especially the 5 hour energy, where the store manager or the receiver probably just pulled the tags and said it was DQ, don't order it no more. But in reality, it wasn't. And it was actually still in the POG and activated for that location. That's why AR is sending it because it's supposed to be there. And if it's on AR, we leave it on there and we let it ship. Now, directly regarding Six Bridges and Fall Line and Georgia Beer, that is something that just kind of evolved over the last probably 30, 40 days to where we had some DQs and I directly picked those brands to replace those DQs. And that's why you're starting to see some of those SKUs fall under your AR or PO order from Publix. All you need to do is get with your receiver to print a tag and find a location for it. It is on the POG. So if it's too much work for you to put it where the POG says to, ask your receiver to can I put it here or there? But most of the time, it should be in the same location as that DQ'd product. And I can, I'll get an email sent out to the whole team with Publix regarding those SKUs and what they replaced. Good question,
So
KJ.
would you have somebody that this is happening to just email you directly?
Yeah.
Cool. And basically, that's a rule of thumb. If something weird's going on in your chains, you're like, this is abnormal. This is causing voids. I don't understand what's happening. Put an email together, put your DMM on it, put Charles on it, and say, here's what's happening in this store. What can we do? Charles will help you out. Can you explain POET for Whole Foods?
Uh, Shelly, I will have to get back to you. My specialist is Chris Fry with Whole Foods. Unfortunately, I can only do so much. That's why I have a team. So if you don't mind, I will make sure Chris Fry addresses that question for you.
I think Chris is on the call. I'm
Oh,
not.
is he?
I know he's connected with his phone. I'm not sure if he can unmute or not, but we'll give him a second there. Really good question here. Do we have any ETAs on hemp for any of our major chains?
So yes. Um, Let me just give you a quick rundown. So any grocery that has a pharmacy is not going to happen anytime soon, which obviously eliminates Walmart, Publix, and Kroger. There's just too many legalities involving that. So I don't want to dive into that. So don't expect that to happen. But C stores, yes, they are coming. I just got done presenting and hopefully executing, which I feel that we will. Again, this is all of our favorite chain, but this is what everybody wants to go into right off the rip, and that's Circle K, Southeast and South Atlantic divisions. It does look like we will be getting roughly 8 to 10 SKUs in every location. I'm hoping to send that information out over the next couple of weeks once everything's confirmed and placements are done. But that will be probably our first major chain, which is almost 400 locations, so it's a pretty big hit.
All right, Circle K hemp. That's great news. Um, I'm sure we'll hear more about that when it gets closer. Can we get Noka products in Publix? What is the process for a specific item in a specific chain?
So we did get Alcola in I think we got an 85% distribution rate, which is 85% of the stores for Publix. So they passed on the T just because of performance and IRI. Just to give you guys a quick rundown, the process of me getting a product into a chain like Publix, Kroger, Walmart, I have to demonstrate that the IRI is in favor, which is I guess what you could call the world data of sales. And if it's not performing well, they're going to walk away from it. They're going to pass on it. New items sometimes are the easiest because there is no data. So with the backing that Noka has, I'm hoping that I can get the 12 packs in there this year, but it won't be until next planning period, which would be early 2026. But Alcola did make most of the sense. Thanks, Tori.
Cool. Michael Paul says he has experienced the same issue with a few Publix accounts, getting items and other damaged product picked up. It's been a very frustrating challenge since we don't have open invoices like we used to prior. Is is it not possible to just add a pickup invoice in your Publix to do a pickup in addition to their AR order?
No, it definitely is possible. You can actually generate your own invoice if needed. Again, I would say that needs to make sure you have approval on that. All I can say is make sure it's on the same truck that's going with your AR order. And I would like to have that timing done the same as any pickups or out of dates. But unless it's out of date, we should not be picking up any product from Publix if it went on the AR order. Now, if it's something prior to January 1st this year, that might be a different question. But if Publix is sending it, I need to know immediately if a store is asking you to pick up an item that's not out of date or out of code.
But delivered breakage though would always be appropriate to pick up, correct?
Yeah, correct.
All right. I got three more good questions, 3 more minutes. Let's go ahead and pause new questions. You guys have done a great job. Are we getting any small cooler racks for buzz balls?
Yes, they are coming. We got the bigger racks in, but the smaller one, countertop ones, they should be here. I would hope this week. I'll make sure to take a note and let everyone know as soon as they land, and they'll be put into inventory, so they should be billable.
We have a lot of inactive CVSs and Walgreens in these guys' routes. Are we any closer to getting products in either of those?
Well, so there's a lot of problems with those two chains, you guys, and the problem is payment, the way they're set up. Could we be in those chains? Yes. Problem is we went in those chains last year, and for almost 4 months, we were not able to obtain payment because of the way they're structured, and it was not on our end. So for right now, those two chains, unless you're in the Constellation network, are probably a no-go until they correct their internal systems.
That's outrageous. It's a COD state. It's their responsibility.
Yeah.
Do we have anything coming to replace Creature Athena in the new sets for Walmart and Ingalls?
So we actually put in requests for swaps for those. For some reason, Walmart ignored them. I even had Greg Kerbavis, Creatures National Account Director, also submit what they call a bot report. Just a matter of like 3 weeks ago, again, to get this request. As you guys know, Walmart's a different beast, and we had that major issue during resets of nothing scanning. I would say majority of that's been resolved, but at the rate they're going, we do have the request put in. It's just when they execute it, and we're kind of at their mercy. But short answer, yes, we requested it to be swapped, and it's just a waiting game until they give us the confirmation and tell us the item's set up. If anything, if you're lucky, I would double up on Trop. Walmart is not like Kroger. They're not going to, if the space is next to it, don't let it stay empty. Just talk to your store manager and receiver. I guarantee that they'll allow you to do it.
All right, we're gonna do one more question. Are we working on, or are there any new NAs into QT on the horizon?
Yes. We, I mean, as you all know with QT, I mean, we did take a hit with Zen Water. Not our fault. That was on the supplier side. So we are set up to get that replaced and add a few more items. I don't really want to go into the details because some items are not quite here yet, but I will tell you that we should have, you know, if you take away Zen Water, we should have, you know, we'll replace that and then we'll have 4 new ones going in for you guys in QT.
Did Racetrack DQ Trop 16s from their set? Last
They
question.
should have, yep, they should have been swapped out for 19.2s. All locations that carried the 16 should scan 19.2s. I'd take the UPC to your store manager next time you're in there and ask them, you know, can we get this swapped out?
All right. Rio belongs to Bud now. Okay, let's get still
Yeah.
getting some good content. We hang out a little bit longer. All right. Brent says Realty continues to be an issue at his Walmart. They expecting us to pick up, but Rio belongs to Bud now. So is that what we say? That's a Budweiser problem?
The good thing about Walmart, we never really shipped Realty to Walmart. Maybe some of you guys did, but it was just a disaster from the get go. But we have an agreement in place, you guys. We are not picking up any Realty, period, from anywhere. If it's on your boats, U-boats, or backstock, tell the receiver that this is a Budweiser product. Can we, you know, move it over to wherever their stock is or their inventory? We're not responsible for it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I realize you'd probably get some pushback on that, but we've been through that a lot. So there's that.
Yeah, send them my way too. If you have any issues with Realty, just send them. Just give them my contact information.
All right. Cool. Team, those are some great questions for Charles. Charles, thank you for answering them. This has been recorded, so we'll upload it onto the YouTube here soon. And I think that is a good stopping point.
If I
Thanks
can
everybody
answer,
for.
Patrick, if I can answer one more, just so I
Yeah,
don't
go
want to
for
leave.
it.
David Little, by the way, Cincinnati was amazing. I think we're gonna really do really well with wine and non-alcs this year in Kroger. Might as well tell the whole team on that too.
Oh, okay. All right. So you had a good meeting with Kroger in Cincinnati.
Yep.
Well, that's good news to you, Kroger folks. Most of our chain team calls on Kroger's, so that's solid. All right. Well, great. Thank you, Charles. Thanks, team. Thanks, everyone. You all have a good night. Have a good week.
Thanks, guys.